Hello's my YouTube family. There are stories that never made it to the news. Whispers buried deep and where no light reaches. Secrets too dark for the world to believe. I search the blackest corners of the internet and far beyond to bring you the truth they tried so hard to erase. Tales that were deleted, covered up, abandoned in digital shadows. But fear remembers everything. These are not just stories. They're warnings. And if you're still watching, if you're still here, it's already too late. Welcome to Fears, and now let the horror begin.
It was late November in Salem, and the first snow had just started to fall. I had been living alone for the past 3 months in a small, creaky apartment built sometime in the 1800s. The kind of place where the floors groaned under your feet and the windows rattled, even without the wind. My friends always joked about how I was brave for choosing to stay there alone, but honestly, I liked the quiet. That night, the cold seemed sharper, the darkness heavier. I crawled into bed, pulling the thick quilt up to my chin. The only light in the room came from the faint orange glow of the street lamp outside, bleeding through the thin curtains. As usual, I left my bedroom door slightly open. I hated feeling boxed in. Sleep came slow. Every time I closed my eyes, I swore I could hear the faintest creaks in the hallway, almost like footsteps, slow and deliberate. I tried to brush it off. Old houses made noises. It was nothing. Sometime around 2:30 a.m., I woke up with a start. My heart hammered against my ribs like it was trying to escape. There was no noise, but something was wrong. Terribly wrong. I didn't want to move, didn't even want to breathe. It was an animal instinct. Stay still. Stay silent. Pretend you're asleep. In the dim light, my eyes flickered to the foot of the bed, and that's when I saw it. Something was sitting there. It wasn't clear at first, just a darker shape against the already dark room. But the longer I stared, the more the outline made itself known. A hunched figure, knees bent awkwardly, long arms hanging loosely. Its head was tilted at a strange angle, almost like it was broken. I couldn't see its face, but I could feel it watching me. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to move, to run, to do anything, but I couldn't. It was as if something heavy was pressing down on my chest. My breath came in shallow gasps, and I felt tears prick at the corners of my eyes. The thing shifted slightly. I heard the mattress creak under its weight. It was real, this wasn't a dream. Slowly it leaned forward, its shadow stretching up along the walls. I heard a faint, wet breathing sound. Not from me, not from outside, but from right there, just a few feet away. It was almost curious, like it was studying me. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying it would vanish. Seconds dragged into minutes. Then cold fingers brushed against my toes. Light, hesitant, almost playful. I jerked my foot back like I'd been electrocuted, but I still didn't dare open my eyes. The mattress dipped more now, as if the thing was crawling closer. I felt its weight, the shift of the bed springs, the tremble of the frame. I could hear it breathing right by my face now, shallow and greedy. Something wet and slimy touched my cheek. I opened my eyes in pure terror. There was nothing there. The bed was empty. The door was still half open. The cold glow of the street lamp hadn't changed. It was like nothing had happened at all, except for the single dark, wet handprint left smeared across my blanket, right where my feet had been. I didn't stay another night in that apartment. I packed my things the next morning and left Salem behind without looking back. But even now, sometimes when I wake up in the dead of night, I swear I can still feel it, sitting at the foot of my bed, watching, waiting. I was 17 when it happened. It was a chilly autumn evening in Flagstaff, the kind where the cold air bites your skin and the setting sun turns the sky into bruised shades of purple and grey. I'd finished a late shift at the small bookstore downtown and decided to walk home. It was only a few blocks. I'd done it 100 times before. The streets were almost empty, except for the occasional car that rumbled past, headlights sweeping the sidewalks like searching eyes. I zipped my jacket up higher and kept my head down, earbuds in, trying to ignore the sinking feeling growing in my gut. About halfway home, I noticed a black SUV crawling along the curb behind me. At first, I thought maybe it was someone looking for parking. I ignored it and kept walking, but when I turned the next corner, it turned too. When I crossed the street, it crept across slowly, matching my pace. A prickling sensation bloomed across the back of my neck. Every step I took, I felt it closer, almost breathing down my back. Trying to stay calm, I ducked into a small gas station, pretending to browse the junk food aisle. I watched from the corner of my eye as the black SUV parked across the street, engine idling, dark windows reflecting nothing but my own fear. Minutes passed. I pretended to text on my phone, pretended to laugh at some imaginary message. But when I finally stepped back outside, heart hammering in my chest, the SUV's headlights blinked on instantly. It began to follow me again. I wasn't just being paranoid, I was being hunted. Panic started to build, thick and choking. My house was still 4 blocks away and too far to make a run for it unseen. I needed somewhere to hide, somewhere to lose whoever was inside that car. Without thinking, I cut through a narrow alley between 2 rundown buildings. Garbage bins lined the walls, and the ground was slick with old rain and rot. Halfway through, I heard the SUV's tires screech. Doors slammed. Footsteps, heavy, fast, multiple. They were coming for me. I ran, sprinting blindly down the alley, my shoes slipping on the wet ground. My lungs burned from the cold and fear. I could hear them behind me. Shouts, laughter, the slap of boots on concrete. They were closing in. At the end of the alley, there was a chain-link fence, too high to climb quickly. I didn't think. I dove under a broken section at the bottom, scraping my arms and tearing my jacket. I didn't stop running. Through backyards, over fences, past barking dogs and flickering porch lights. I didn't dare look back. Finally, I burst onto a busier street, full of cars and people. I collapsed onto a bench, pretending to wait for a bus, gasping for air. When I finally glanced over my shoulder, the black SUV was gone, just gone, as if it had melted back into the night. I made it home eventually, locking every door and window, heart pounding so hard I thought it might shatter my ribs. I never found out who they were. I never wanted to. But sometimes, when I walk alone at night, I still feel it. The cold gaze of unseen eyes, watching, waiting for another chance. It was a quiet Thursday afternoon when I got the phone call. I had just returned from work, tired and ready to relax. My dad had been out of town for months, working on a construction project up north. We had spoken on the phone a few days ago, and he told me he'd be coming home soon. I stepped into the kitchen to grab a drink when my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but I figured it was some marketing call. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. Hello? The voice on the other end was soft, almost too casual. Hey, how's your dad? I saw him yesterday. I froze. The chill in my spine was instant. My dad had been up north for weeks. He wasn't supposed to be back yet. What? Who is this? I asked, my throat suddenly tight. The voice didn't seem concerned. Oh, he was here, visiting some friends of his, I think. We had lunch. He was in great spirits. My pulse raced. Where are you? Who are you? The line went silent for a moment, the sound of breathing heavy on the other side. He didn't tell you. He was just here, at your house, just yesterday. My stomach dropped. My dad wasn't home. I had the entire place to myself. I tried to brush it off, trying to convince myself it was some kind of mistake. Maybe it was a prank. You're mistaken. He's been gone for weeks. He's not here." The voice on the other end didn't respond for a long time, but then it came again. "Oh, trust me. I saw him yesterday. He came by, said he was just checking on things, asked how you were doing." I couldn't breathe. The way the voice said it, with such certainty, made it sound too real, too intimate. I wanted to hang up, but I couldn't. The feeling of dread washed over me like a cold wave. I glanced at the clock. My dad's flight had been delayed. He was supposed to be back in 2 days. It was impossible that anyone could have seen him. I hung up the phone quickly, my hands shaking. There was no way to explain it. I felt watched. An hour later, I went upstairs to my dad's bedroom, almost as if to reassure myself that everything was fine. The door was slightly ajar, and I pushed it open. I froze in place. The bed was made, perfectly, but there on his pillow was something I knew for sure hadn't been there before. A single crumpled note. It wasn't like anything my dad would have written. It was a mess of words, scrawled quickly and hastily. It read, "I'm not your dad." My breath caught in my throat. My mind raced. The voice on the phone, the note, the certainty of it all. I rushed to the kitchen, but when I passed the window, I saw something that made my heart stop. Out on the street, standing by the sidewalk, was a man who looked exactly like my dad. His back was turned, but I knew it was him. The same build, the same posture, everything. But there was something wrong. He wasn't moving. He was standing perfectly still. I blinked, and in that moment the figure turned to look at me. His face was pale, expressionless, almost too still. His eyes were lifeless. I felt my blood run cold. I turned and ran downstairs, heart pounding in my chest. But when I reached the front door, I froze again. I hadn't heard anyone knock, but there, sitting on the welcome mat, was a single shoe. My dad's shoe. I grabbed the shoe, my hands trembling, and when I stepped back to look out the window again, the figure was gone. It felt like an eternity before my dad finally returned home, exactly 2 days later. He didn't know anything about what had happened. He was his usual self, but something in me, something had changed. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had been waiting for him to come back, watching me the entire time.
What you just heard, Han, was more than a story. It was a glimpse into what waits in the dark. Some truths should never be found, but now that you've heard them, they're coming closer. Subscribe while you still can. This was Fears. Until next time, keep your lights on.